Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to this short video training series in which we are looking at the Bitcoin. In the previous videos we have been looking at where the Bitcoin is coming from, what are the advantages of using the Bitcoin, and also what the future of the Bitcoin might look like. In the last video, we have been looking into Bitcoin wallets, meaning how to store Bitcoin, how to store it safely, what is important to look at if you want to store Bitcoin. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I'd highly recommend to step back and look into the first two videos before you proceed with this video. In this video, I will be discussing with you Bitcoin exchanger, meaning how to buy and sell Bitcoin. I'll be giving you a couple of tips how what is important to look into if you want to choose an exchanger for yourself. There are a lot of exchanges out there in the marketplace, but I'll give you a couple of tips which exchanger I find trustworthy and legit to look at. Obviously, everything is depending on my personal perception, my personal opinion, and what I'm hearing from people using different exchanger in the marketplace. All right. Before we get started, this video is presented by me and myself. I'm Romina Flummi. You're most welcome to contact me via Facebook, send me a friendship request, send me a message. If you are a newbie, I'll be more than happy to help you out in any capacity I can. If you are an experienced investor and network marketer, I'm always more than happy to connect with you as well, because you might know things that I don't know, I might know things that you don't know, so we can pretty much learn from each other, and that's what it's in the end of the day all about. All right, so I'm going to start to look into what is important to look at if you want to choose a Bitcoin exchanger in which you want to buy and sell Bitcoin. All right, so the first important thing is payment option. So if you want to pay in a certain way, let's say you want to pay via bank transfer, you want to use a certain payment provider like Advance Cash or anything like that, you have to make sure that your preferred payment option is actually accepted by the platform where you want to buy or sell your Bitcoin. Bank transfer are most likely to be accepted. Credit card is a little bit rare, but there are a couple of exchangers out there that accept credit cards. PayPal is really rare in this industry. If you find an exchanger that accepts PayPal, then you have to be prepared to pay a little bit of a higher fee. So I personally wouldn't recommend to go the PayPal way. I normally prefer and also suggest going via bank transfer. Obviously, every exchanger will charge a little bit of a fee, so have a look into what the fees are. Mostly the fees are around 1 or 2% of per Bitcoin purchase, or per purchase in general. So make sure that the fees around your purchase are in a reasonable way. Okay, then bank account. The bank account of the exchanger is very important because it doesn't help you very much if you're sitting in Australia and you're finding a Bitcoin exchanger in the US within US bank account. The same applies if you're sitting in Germany and you find an exchanger in the US, because first of all, it costs you a lot of money depending on your bank to transfer your funds, and secondly, it takes forever until your funds arrive. So make sure that depending on your location and your personal bank account, that the exchanger is good to work with. If you're sitting in Europe, for example, you might want to choose a SEPA transaction. If you're sitting in Australia, you might want to look into a Bitcoin wallet that supports Australian bank accounts, and so on and so forth. So that's sort of very important to look at as well if you want to avoid high transaction fee and also longer transaction times. So try and find a fast and cost-effective option that works for you in the end of the day. Okay, security standards are again very important. It's similar to what I've mentioned when it comes to Bitcoin wallet. Security standards make it harder for hackers to hack your account within your exchanger. So two-way authentication is always really important, which means that you might get a a pin towards your email address on your SMS, or you use Google authentication. If a one-way authentication is only available, let's say only with a password, it's really easy for hackers to hack your account. So make sure there is a two-way authentication out there. Okay, anonymity. I've tapped into that subject in the wallet video. The same applies to exchangers as well. So there are a couple of exchangers that do not treat your data as confidential as they are supposed to do. So make sure if you buy Bitcoin, especially larger amounts of Bitcoin, then you might want to choose exchangers that are actually treating your data as confidential. Don't hand it over to financial authorities or governments or anything like that upon request, because that's in the end of the day why most people use Bitcoin, because it's anonymous, no one knows what is happening. So make sure if you work with an exchanger that your data are treated confidential. Additional functions, I have talked about that in the previous video as well. We can play the game also the other way around. So it's always good if an exchanger has a wallet option so you can store your Bitcoin, and also if your exchanger has a credit card option to make it as easy as possible for you to use your Bitcoin or to withdraw your Bitcoin in US dollar, Australian dollar, euro, or whatever currency you are using in your particular country. Okay, that's where we tap into the currency of credit card. That is important if you want to choose a wallet that offers a credit card. So again, it doesn't help you if you're sitting in let's say Australia or Germany and the credit card of your exchanger uses US dollar only, because you will pay a lot of fees to withdraw your funds, because you have an exchanger between exchangers to transfer US dollar into Australian dollar or euro. So find an exchanger where the credit card option works in the particular currency of your country if possible. So for example, when you're in Australia, Coinjar is used in Australian dollar. There are a couple of exchangers there working with euro if you're sitting in euro. Most of the time, exchanger are working in US dollar, so it's really easy for someone who sits in the US to find an exchanger that works in US dollar. But if you're outside of the US, you might want to put a particular importance to that, because as I said, if there's a different currency, then you have higher withdrawing fees. Okay, then obviously it's very important that your exchanger is legitimate and trustworthy. So for me, it's very important that a website looks professional, because there are a massive amount of exchangers out there in the marketplace, and some appear kind of dodgy. And I want to make sure if I choose an exchanger that I know that my money arrives and that I will get Bitcoin for my money. So if the website looks professional, then obviously it's a good point. If a website appears sort of dodgy, then I personally step away from that exchanger provider. Also, for me being part of the industry, for me it's also very important to look at if the exchanger is well known by other people, if the exchanger is getting used by other people being in that industry, because if other people use an exchanger successfully, obviously I can expect to that my money is arriving in the exchanger, and also that I will get Bitcoin for my money transferred. And then verification. So every legit exchanger will have a verification process at some point in time. So sometimes exchanger will want that verification process right from the start. Others will do it in the middle. So let's say other exchangers, they have like a limit of, let's say, $1,000, and if you reach that limit of $1,000, then they ask for a verification. Other exchangers, let's say, they need a verification for you to be able to to transfer money from your personal bank account. You will have the option of transferring from, let's say, advance cash or PayPal or anything like that, but not from your personal bank account. In order to do that, you have to go for the verification. Other exchanger asks for the verification unannounced. So you always should be prepared to have your verification documents ready and available. So identification documents are a proof of ID, which might be your passport or your national ID, and also proof of address that is recent. Most of exchanger ask for proof of address that is not older than 3 months. I personally use my bank statement because that's the easiest way, but some people also use successfully other documents. But in my personal experience, a passport and a bank statement that is recent, not older than 3 months, works the best way. So always be prepared to have those documents ready. I normally and personally suggest to do the identification process or verification process right from the start to take out all limits so you're good to go. But that's in the end of the day up to you. That's only my personal preference when it comes to verification. Okay, now I want to give you a couple of options which exchanger are out there in the marketplace that are trustworthy and legit, in my personal opinion and my personal experience as well. Obviously, as I said, the marketplace has a massive amount of exchanger, so I can also only give you a snapshot of possible exchangers there that do work quite well for most people. But if you are not happy for any reason with what this exchanger have to I have to suggest, then you can go to Google, type in Bitcoin exchanger, and you will have a massive amount of exchanger options available. In order to give you full freedom of making your own decision, that's why I just explained a little bit about what is important to look at if you want to make your own choice with exchanger. Okay, so my personal top two when it comes to exchangers are EWallets, because EWallets is an all-in-one solution. So you have an exchanger, a credit card, and a wallet function as well, and you receive your private key as well, which gives you full control of your Bitcoin wallet. So that's for me personally very important because I want to be in full control of my Bitcoin. I want to be able to restore my Bitcoin at any point in time, in any capacity, whatever happens. So that's why EWallets is sort of my first choice. The second choice is Bitstamp. Bitstamp is quite quite cost effective because it's around only 0.25% of purchasing fee. So Bitstamp seems to be very popular in the marketplace as well. I didn't use Bitstamp for myself to buy Bitcoin because I normally get paid in Bitcoin. The last time I purchased Bitcoin was over CoinJar, but the next time I will have to buy Bitcoin for any reason, I will choose again EWallets or CoinJar because I'm in Australia, and CoinJar works pretty easy and pretty well with my local bank account. Also with both options, EWallets and Bitstamp, your data are treated confidential as far as I know. So it shouldn't be a problem if you buy larger amount of Bitcoin as well. I've heard from other wallets where accounts are getting frozen, larger accounts are getting frozen, data have been handed over to financial authorities. That's not what we want. I will tap into those one a little bit later during that video. But in those two options, as far as I'm concerned, and from what I've heard from other people, is those are the first two options if you want to buy Bitcoin on an international level. Then alternatives are Xapo, Bitpanda, Anycoin, SpectroCoin, and here, as I said, I'm not too sure. They're all alleged, they're all trusted, they all are well used in the marketplace, but I'm not sure how confidential the data are treated because, as I said, from what I've heard, there have been larger accounts frozen. Data have been handed out to financial authorities. So for myself, I would like to step away from those ones, but especially for Xapo. Xapo is a very well used Bitcoin exchanger and Bitcoin wallet. It was perfectly fine, and it's great as an everyday wallet, as I mentioned in the last video as well. Okay, then there's another option, which is a member-to-member option. A member-to-member option is quite good to use if you want to purchase Bitcoin in cash, because those ones work a little bit like eBay, where you have the option of either offering your Bitcoin for a certain amount of money that you want to sell it, or you can find Bitcoin in your local area, and you can purchase those Bitcoin in cash or local bank transfer, which makes the whole story a lot of more anonymous. Obviously, with member to member, you got to be a little bit careful because you don't know who you're buying from. But I have friends, they use member to member Bitcoin purchasing quite successfully. So that is an option that you might want to look at if you want to, as I said, buy Bitcoin in cash or have the most anonymous option. Then member to member is quite great to use. There are two platforms out there. One is bitcoin.de, which is most likely to be for Germany, and local Bitcoin. Local Bitcoin is what people here in Australia use as well, and it's quite successfully used. So if you want to go into the member-to-member option, those two platforms are quite recommendable. Okay, then I'd like to look again into Bitcoin credit cards, an exchanger or Bitcoin wallets that offer Bitcoin credit cards, because in the end of the day, you want to also be able to withdraw your Bitcoins, to use your Bitcoin to pay for goods and services and that sort of thing. So having a Bitcoin credit card is definitely of advantage, and I pretty much like the idea of just having the Bitcoin from the offline or online world transferred into the online world without any hassle or any any sort of hassle in the end of the day. With Bitcoin credit cards, it's very easy to use because most of the time you get like a Visa card or a MasterCard, with which you can go to any ATM in the world and withdraw your funds, or you can also use it normally for online purchases. And what happens there is that your Bitcoins are transferred into the currency of the credit card at the local market range, so you don't have to stress about where are the prices going, because the credit card does the work for you in the end of the day. Okay, the first choice for myself again is EWallets. Then we have also QCrypt. QCrypt is quite unique because with QCrypt you not only can put Bitcoin onto the card, but up to 40 altcoins. Altcoins can be, for example, Ethereum. So QCrypt is a really interesting card to have, because I do believe it's the only card that offers us the option to have not only Bitcoin on the card, but also up to 40 different altcoins. Then we have CryptoPay, Bitstamp, and Spectrocoin and Xapo. All of them offer credit cards that work really, really well. I personally prefer EWallets and also QCrypt because of the unique option of having 40 altcoins on QCrypt. But all of the other ones work perfectly fine, especially Xapo is quite popular in the marketplace, so there's a lot of people using Xapo as well. All right, this was it for the last video of our Bitcoin training series. I hope I could create a little bit of value for your time invested. If you are new to the marketplace and you want to get used to Bitcoin or involved into the Bitcoin market, into the trading market, I highly can recommend to get into our Cryptonaire team, which is linked to Crypt Trade Capital, which is a company that trades your funds in Bitcoin for you. You can withdraw with advanced cash or with Bitcoin. I will pop you the link underneath. It does give you up to 7% of return. So I pop you that link underneath. I also pop you the link underneath for EWallets in case you wanted to open a Bitcoin wallet with EWallets. But as I said, there's a lot of options out there. If you're not happy with the EWallets because it doesn't work for you, it doesn't suit you, then obviously you have a lot of other options. All right, this is it for the day. I hope you got a lot of value out of this video, and I'd say let's see in the next video. Bye bye, happy investing.